They're schemers. Schemers trying to control their little worlds. I'm not a schemer. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. And here we go.
Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. You amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. I found my glasses. Guess where they were? Right in front of me. I'll actually put them in the case. And for some reason, it's like those tribes that, because they don't know certain things are real, they'll look out across the sea, and because they don't know about boats, their brain will remove them. And that's what my brain did earlier. It forgot that this case existed, so when I glanced on my desk, it made it appear invisible, and therefore making me read that bloody thing earlier with no glasses on. If you didn't watch it, you better go and watch it. Not now, obviously, because I'm doing this video, and that would not be good, would it? Are you subscribed? Have you liked yet? Do all that. Let's get all that jazz out of the way, because in this video, we're talking about Patterson. That's it, Patterson. I've got Patterson books on that shelf there. Can't quite see them. I think it's that one. It might be. No, it is that one at the back there. Not many. And I'm now wondering whether I need to use them ones as toilet paper, because we're going to look at this together. So here we go. This is Bryan Kohberger believed he committed the perfect murders until one key mistake shattered his plot. One mistake. Let's just get this right straight away, right? And that is this, look. If Bryan Kohberger did this crime, which he could have done it. Like I said, I'm not saying that he's completely innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I haven't been shown enough evidence to convince me beyond a reasonable doubt that he did it, and I still feel that it's a multiple perpetrator crime. But my opinion only, well, not my opinion only, but my opinion, which I'm entitled to, but like, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one, ain't they? But there we go. There'll be a load of people in the comments now. Yes, that's strange, because you are also an arsehole. Touche. So it says, Bryan Kohberger, a painfully awkward, arrogant, introvert, and criminal justice student, believed he could have committed the perfect murders, James Patterson said. I wonder which part of that you thought he was committing the perfect murders. Was it when he apparently purchased the knife and sheath and sharpener all off of Amazon? Or was it when he then lost the sheath and then purchased or went to purchase a replacement? Or was it when he took his phone? Was it when he left a witness? When he drove his own car? When he took a selfie? I don't know. When he went to the area multiple times? I don't know. Anyway, one of the things that Professor Dr. Catherine Ramsland said, that with murders like this, they get tunnel vision, they panic, and they miss things, the award-winning author told Fox News Digital. So here was Kohberger, who almost committed the perfect murders, except he had that tunnel vision, Patterson shared. He left that knife sheath behind, and that's what ultimately led to his arrest. So are we saying genuinely that if that knife sheath hadn't have been there, that Bryan Kohberger would never have been found, because up to that point, this was perfect. Absolutely perfect. We're still actually not very clear on exactly how they got hold of Bryan Kohberger. Patterson, who has sold more than 425 million books, published over 260 New York Times bestsellers, and won 10 Emmy Awards, has teamed up with investigative journalist Vicky Ward to write a book, The Idaho 4, An American Tragedy. He is also a producer on the new Prime Video docuseries, One Night in Idaho, which we'll speak about once I've finished watching all of them. They're an uncomfortable watch. The College Murders, which is based on the book, several loved ones of the victims spoke out in that film. Fox News Digital reached out to Kohberger's lawyer for comment. There is a picture of James Patterson there. Kohberger, a former Washington State University criminology PhD student, pleaded guilty on July 2nd to killing 4 University of Idaho students on November 13th, 2022, as part of a deal with prosecutors to escape the death penalty. The 30-year-old faces 4 consecutive life sentences for fatally stabbing 21-year-olds Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonsalves, as well as 20-year-olds Xana Knodel and Ethan Chapin at their off-campus house. For the book, Patterson and Ward conducted more than 300 interviews and took a deep dive into Kohberger's upbringing. He was inappropriate. He didn't know how to socialize very well. They did so much research that he didn't understand that he was ASD. And that is very likely why you recognize and see all of these traits in Bryan Kohberger. But there we go. He was a teaching assistant, and he was just turning people off. He graded the woman poorly. He had an inability to deal with women, yet he thought he was popular. It was a thought of, why aren't these people, these women, loving him? Because he found himself very worthy. And in this documentary, most of this comes out. According to the book, the docuseries, Kohberger may have been inspired by one killer, Elliot Rodger. The 22-year-old was obsessed with exacting retribution after experiencing what he claimed was a lifetime of social and sexual isolation, the AP reported. In 2014, Rodger killed 6 people in a stabbing and shooting spree in Isla Vista, California, before turning a gun on himself. No one knows that, like Rodger, Bryan is a virgin who hates women, the book claimed. No one knows that Bryan copes with loneliness by immersing himself in video games. Like Rodger, he goes for night drives. Like Rodger, he visits the gun range. And like Rodger, he goes to a local bar and tries to pick up women. Elliot Rodger wrote that he kept trying to place himself in settings where he could pick up women, the book continued, but no one noticed him. Bryan must think that surely he'll be noticed. Women must spot his looks, his intelligence, and they must want him. They don't. Patterson pointed out that at the Seven Sirens Brewing Company in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Kohberger would push his way into unwanted conversations with female bartenders and patrons. He went as far as asking for their addresses. Some women, according to the book, started complaining to the brewery's owner about the creepy guy with the bulging eyes. The creepy guy with the bulging eyes. Kohberger was adamant that women would notice him, but Patterson noted that to many, he was simply off-putting. He made people uncomfortable, said Patterson. The bartenders and owners remembering him as being this weird duck who would sit at the bar and just weird everybody out and talk inappropriately. He had a lot of trouble socializing. So what we're doing here is systematically taking the piss out of ASD. That's what we're doing there. We're literally, we've got to the point where that's okay now. Let's not address the fact that he had ASD and these traits, this awkwardness, this bluntness, this sometimes not acting or saying things appropriately is now cannon fodder for people to take the fucking piss out of. Do you know what I mean? Let's see how that goes down well with people who actually have children and family members who are ASD and see these very traits in their children and how they will likely struggle in their lives and the fears that they have. Bearing in mind that I have a stepdaughter who is ASD as well. And we worry because of her inability to sometimes deal with social situations in what we would class as an appropriate manner. And it's because of shit like this, that people are too fucking dense to understand the diverse nature of some individuals and act accordingly. According to the book, Kohberger felt that by going to Moscow, Idaho, across that state border, he could find a girl willing to date him. He read about a place online called the Mad Greek where they sell vegan pizza. He's vegan. When he walked inside, he noticed a blonde waitress, Maddie Mogan. Now, we've been told the Mad Greek had said that Bryan Kohberger had never even been in this place. Now, whether they said that for any other specific reason, I don't know. Let me know down below if I've missed something come out. When he walked inside, he noticed a blonde waitress, Maddie Mogan. It's been speculated by sources who spoke to Patterson that Mogan rejected Kohberger. The book pointed out an eerie similarity Elliot Rodger wrote of reuniting with a childhood friend named Maddie in the months before the day of retribution. Read the book. She was popular, spoiled USC girl who partied with her hot, popular, blonde-haired clique of friends. Roger wrote, as quoted by the book, "My hatred for them all grew from each picture I saw of her profile. They were the kind of beautiful, popular people who lived pleasurable lives and would look down on me as inferior scum, never accepting me as one of them. They were my enemies. They represented everything that was wrong with this world." When asked if we'll ever know Kohberger's true motives for committing the murders, Patterson replied, "Oh, I think we already do know. I think he had decided that Maddie, you could see it when you went by the house. You could see her room. Her name was up in the window of her room. We think it seems like he went there to deal with her. It seems fairly obvious. Will we know more? I don't know. If he wants to be interviewed at this stage, I'm happy to go there and do an interview. And I've done that before. People who have gone to prison and they decide that all of a sudden they want to talk. Well, I won't be talking to you, you fucking skanky twat. Past acquaintances described Kohberger as frustrated by females and even sexist as a result. One woman who met Kohberger on a Tinder date several years ago claimed on social media that her interaction with him was so awkward she just pretended to vomit just to get him to leave her apartment. He also appeared to be well versed in incels or involuntary celibates. Here we go again. And that weirdo on the bloody Tinder as well. Fuck's sake. What did he do that was so out of the ordinary? He's again, ASD, don't really know how to deal with these kind of social and intimate situations, and he acted quite immature. It weren't. What did she expect him to do? Just flop his nuts and bolts out and say, "Here, sit on that." Do you know what I mean? Is it because he was? You don't walk the plot unless you're looking to buy. And maybe he didn't want to buy and she was frustrated. Who knows? Just my opinion. Pretty much everybody we talked to just said, "This is a strange man with a strange look. Couldn't look people in the eye," said Patterson. If he did look at you in the eye, sometimes people wish that he didn't. He hadn't. Fucking hell, what is this, like a Medusa situation? Some actually turned to fucking stone. And his impression of himself was totally out of whack with the way other people perceived him. The book described Kohberger as having once expressed an offensive, anachronistic view of gender roles, and following the murders, he may have viewed himself as a criminal mastermind. After following the murders, he may have viewed himself as a criminal mastermind. Yeah, especially probably at that point where he was buying all of the stuff that he needed to do on Amazon. He was probably thinking, "Fuck, it's a good idea." Or when he decided to leave the house and take his phone with him, fucking awesome idea. And then drive round and get caught on every camera that there is. I'm a mastermind. It's got a cat and everything. Moscow, Idaho was overwhelmed by the gravity of this heinous crimes and the public scrutiny that came with it. You've got not only the murders here, but all of a sudden you've got press from around the world in this small town, Patterson explained. And numpties like this dickhead doing books. You've got all these rumours. One of the things in the book, and one of the saddest things that we discovered in the documentary, is the way that this stuff gets picked up by these true crime people, some of whom are vampires. Vampires. They're awful. They don't care. They don't take responsibility for their actions. How about this, mate? How about this, Patterson, mate? The fact that all of the mainstream media were so biased and bloodthirsty out in there and doing what they done is exactly why this case won't get justice. Why this never went to trial. It wasn't because of little old people like me, Harsh Vampire, and the other motley crew of people who have covered this in the background and asked questions. You know what I mean? It weren't us who fucked this case up. It weren't us who meant that this couldn't go to court. So stick that in your pipe and smoke it. They don't take responsibility for their actions. And when you write a book or do a documentary, you have to be responsible for it. And we were responsible. Yeah, but you was literally going to release it, a month before the fucking trial. Yeah, boy. Yeah, that was well responsible. The only reason this didn't come out a month before the trial is literally because Bryan Kohberger pled guilty. And it could be that they knew that this kind of thing was going to fucking decimate any chance whatsoever of a fair trial. So what was the fucking point? Throw the towel in. Throw the towel in. And I know it's tinfoil hat stuff, but it's happened in the past. Wouldn't have been the first time, wouldn't have been the last time, but people will just keep sticking their heads in the sand or up their arse, and they will carry on regardless, because until shit falls in, hits them on the head, and they then have skin in the game, they don't care. That's the reality of it all. And it could have been that tunnel vision Kohberger had that reportedly made him believe he wouldn't get caught. Well, on the contrary, if you believe what a lot of the guilters say, he absolutely expected to get caught. He was wearing gloves, he was segregating rubbish, he was cleaning his car and all this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? He was... Dr. Ramsland teaches students that killers get tunnel vision when they are committing murder. The book shared. That's why mistakes get made. Amid the high adrenaline and hyper-focus on the act itself, killers can forget things they otherwise would not. And Kohberger's family isn't to blame, said Patterson. I think from everyone we can gather his parents did their best, said Patterson. They seem to have done their best with him. Kohberger's guilty plea doesn't end the quest to seek more answers. Look, people talk, said Patterson. When you're in big city like New York, you're kind of used to, unfortunately, to violence. But you've got these two college towns, Moscow, Idaho, and Pullman, Washington, and they don't know what to make of this. It's a story of these families and these kids, and to some extent, the documentary, it will make you afraid. It will certainly make you feel what it was like to be in those towns during this period, what it was like the next day, the shock, the fear. There we go. It was a hard case to solve, he reflected. Investigators were very fortunate that Kohberger made that one big blunder. He didn't make a lot of mistakes. Fucking didn't make a lot of mistakes. Literally, if it is Bryan Kohberger who did this crime, and we have to understand he's pled guilty. He's pled guilty. So there's a high probability that he's involved. That is the way it is. Me personally, I just haven't seen enough evidence to be 100% sure. There's just this little niggling doubt in the back of my mind, and I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't exist just because it makes some people feel better. Fuck yourself. So it was a tough investigation. He might have never been caught. We might have been writing about God knows what right now. There you go. How to watch the Kohberger doc, the Idaho student murders online. This is what it says on here. Look, it's Amazon, isn't it? It's on Amazon Prime. It's on Prime. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that. Patterson talking shit, literally writing a book there. This is about selling his book. And look, you'll have to let me know how you think about it. I just look at it like the situation with the ASD and the way that they're using, the ASD traits to destroy somebody is sickening. That is sickening, regardless of anything. You know what I mean? Even if Bryan Kohberger is the person who did this crime and he did it, we should be in a position where you want to know what is going on. Why did this individual do this? Was there something else going on here? Was this ramifications for something else that had happened, an ongoing situation? We want to be able to understand it. And sometimes you're just not ever going to get those answers that you want. I get that. But to just go on and on and on, decimating someone and talking about the ASD traits of an individual and making them seem like really, really horrible and heinous and disgusting things. How do you think that affects those that, again, have this condition? It's disgusting. Really disgusting. But let me know down below what you think. Again, like if you haven't liked yet. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Share and all that jazz, all that good stuff. And I will catch you all in the next one. Mwah.